a school police officer just walked free. Adrian Gonzales was on duty during the Uvalde school massacre, where 19 children and 2 teachers were murdered. He stood outside while the gunman slaughtered kids for 77 minutes. Parents begged him to go in. He didn't. Now a jury acquitted him of all charges. Prosecutors called it dereliction of duty. Defense said he followed training. Families say justice died. Police unions celebrate. Today, Sophia and Liam explode. Is police accountability dead? Or are we demanding the impossible from officers facing active shooters? Here's the devastating story. May 24th, 2022, Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. An 18-year-old gunman enters and begins shooting children. School police officer Adrian Gonzales arrives on scene within minutes. Parents are screaming, begging officers to enter. Gonzales and other officers wait outside for 77 minutes while children are murdered inside. Victims' families include 10-year-old Amory Jo Garza, who called 911 begging for help, and dozens of wounded children bleeding out. But here's what will shock you by the end. The jury heard evidence that Gonzales followed department protocol. His training said wait for tactical team during active shooter. He faced an AR-15 with only a handgun. Multiple officers made the same decision to wait. Yet parents watched their children die while trained police stood outside. The trial became a referendum. Do police have a legal duty to protect citizens? Or can they choose personal safety over civilian lives? Prosecutors charged Gonzales with abandoning duty and endangering children. Defense argued impossible standards and dangerous precedent. The acquittal means no officer will face consequences for Uvalde. Sophia says impossible standards doom policing. Liam says accountability just died.
This acquittal was legally correct even though it's emotionally devastating. We cannot criminally prosecute officers for split-second decisions in impossible situations. Adrian Gonzales faced an active shooter with an AR-15. He had a handgun. His training, which we gave him, said wait for tactical support in such scenarios. He followed his training. If we criminalize following protocol, we destroy policing. No officer will respond to dangerous calls knowing they face prison for their judgment under pressure. The Uvalde tragedy was a systemic failure, leadership failure, training failure, communication failure. One officer didn't cause 77 minutes of delay. Dozens of officers and commanders made decisions. Singling out Gonzales as the scapegoat doesn't fix the real problems. And setting legal precedent that officers must charge into certain death situations will have catastrophic consequences. Officers will resign en masse. Departments can't recruit. When seconds count, there won't be any police response because we prosecuted cops for not being superheroes. The acquittal protects the possibility of having police at all.
Sophia just defended the most cowardly betrayal in American law enforcement history. 19 children were murdered while a trained, armed officer stood outside listening to gunshots. That's not following protocol. That's moral cowardice. Let's be clear what happened. Parents, unarmed parents, tried to run into the school to save their children. Police physically restrained them. Police told parents, "We'll handle it." Then police waited outside for 77 minutes while children bled to death, calling 911 for help. Some victims died from blood loss who would have survived with faster response. Gonzales heard the shooting. He had a gun. He had body armor. He was trained for this. His job description is literally school resource officer. Protecting students, the AR-15 versus handgun excuse? Police engage armed suspects with handguns constantly. That's the job. The wait for tactical protocol was designed for barricaded suspects, not active shooters killing children in real time. Every active shooter training since Columbine says engage immediately. Gonzales chose personal safety over dying children. The acquittal sends a message. Police have no duty to protect you even when children are being slaughtered.
You're asking officers to commit suicide. Running toward AR-15 with handgun is certain death. That's not accountability, that's bloodlust.
I'm asking officers to do the job they're trained for. If you can't protect children being murdered, why are you a school cop?
Because jobs have limits. We don't criminally prosecute firefighters who won't enter burning buildings certain to collapse. Same principle.
Firefighters don't physically stop civilians from entering burning buildings. Police prevented parents from saving their own kids.
So we've got dead children, unpunished officers, and devastated families. But here's what this verdict really exposed, and it's terrifying. The Supreme Court has ruled multiple times that police have no constitutional duty to protect individuals. That's right. To protect and serve is a motto, not a legal obligation. Before we explore what that means, I need to know where you stand. SOPHIA, blue symbol. Impossible standards will destroy policing. Liam, red symbol. Accountability is dead. Police can abandon you. Your vote matters because this verdict sets precedent for every school, every shooting, every moment you think police will help. Now, let's examine the legal nightmare this acquittal reveals.
Let me explain the legal and practical reality Liam refuses to acknowledge. First, Supreme Court precedent. DeShaney v. Winnebago, Castle Rock v. Gonzales, Warren v. District of Columbia. All established police have no constitutional duty to protect specific individuals. This isn't new. Gonzales's acquittal follows decades of established law. You cannot criminally prosecute someone for not doing something they have no legal duty to do. Second, the tactical reality. Active shooter protocols evolved after Columbine, yes. But those protocols assume officers have appropriate equipment and numbers. Gonzales arrived alone with a handgun against an AR-15. Waiting for tactical support was reasonable under the circumstances. Charging in solo would have resulted in dead officer plus continued shooting, because one outgunned cop can't neutralize an AR-15 shooter. Third, the precedent danger. If we convict Gonzales, every officer responding to dangerous calls faces potential criminal liability for judgment calls. Police work requires split-second decisions under incomplete information. Making those decisions criminal means no one becomes police or all police become paralyzed by legal fear, responding to nothing. The family's pain is real but doesn't change what's legally and practically sustainable.
SOPHIA keeps hiding behind legal precedent to justify moral atrocity. Let me destroy her excuses. Those Supreme Court cases? They're about lawsuits claiming police failed to protect. None involved officers present at scene. Hearing children murdered, doing nothing. This is different. Gonzales wasn't absent. He was there. His job was school resource officer, specifically assigned to protect those students. That creates different duty. Waiting for tactical was reasonable. Absolute garbage. Border Patrol agents finally went in. Not even local jurisdiction, because they couldn't stomach hearing children die. Those agents weren't tactical team with special equipment. They were patrol agents with handguns who decided children's lives mattered more than their own safety. That's heroism. Gonzales's choice was cowardice, and lone officer can't neutralize AR-15? Tell that to Parkland SRO Scott Peterson, who also hid outside and got destroyed nationally. Tell it to the Border Patrol agents who did engage. Officers engage armed suspects every day. The only difference here is Gonzales chose not to try. 77 minutes, while children bled out. Some victims called 911 begging for help. Police heard the calls and waited outside. That's not policing, that's betrayal.
Scott Peterson's prosecution failed. Jury acquitted him too, because convicting officers for not dying is unsustainable.
Then we need new laws creating clear duties. If police won't protect children being murdered, disband them and let parents defend schools.
And there it is. What's the point of police if they can legally abandon you during the worst moment of your life? Do they have duty to protect or just authority to detain? The Uvalde acquittal exposes the uncomfortable reality of American policing. Police have enormous power. They can arrest you, detain you, use force against you, prevent you from acting. But they have no corresponding legal duty to protect you. They can physically stop parents from saving their children, then legally choose not to save those children themselves. That asymmetry, maximum authority, minimum obligation, is what makes this verdict so enraging to families. But there's also harsh truth in the other direction. We cannot mandate heroism. We cannot criminally punish people for not running toward certain death. Policing already struggles with recruitment. Adding criminal liability for not being Captain America will collapse law enforcement entirely. Whether that collapse would be better or worse than current policing is its own debate. Here's the impossible question. How do we hold police accountable for catastrophic failures without making policing impossible? The Uvalde families want justice. Police unions want legal protection. Citizens want safety. Officers want survival. Can all four coexist? The acquittal says no. Someone has to lose. In Uvalde, families lost everything. But that question, who protects us when protectors fail, connects to something even bigger happening right now. Because while we debate police duty, there's an economic crisis exploding that affects every American. Economic pessimism has hit record levels. Americans expect rising unemployment, higher taxes, increased prices, and declining U.S. power globally. Only the stock market gets optimistic predictions that this real economic crisis. Or is this manufactured pessimism from media and politics? Are we heading toward genuine economic collapse? Or is perception being manipulated for political gain? SOPHIA and Liam are about to detonate over whether American economic anxiety is justified or propaganda. The data is shocking. The implications affect your job, your savings, your future. That debate drops next. You need to see this.